Hi guys, I just wanted to share some experience from making ormus. I've been doing that for the last year. I've been using ormus for the last year, but the last couple of months, unfortunately, I was not able to use ormus on a daily or a regular basis. It's not because I didn't want to, but for some reason I was not successful in making enough ormus to just use ormus on a regular basis. So last week I found out what were my mistakes in making ormus, and I want to share these with you so you don't have to make the same mistakes and can continue using ormus and hope it helps you. So there are actually three things. If you make ormus, you've probably searched the internet and found a couple of recipes. I myself use the wet method, and I use a lei to make ormus. You've already probably seen that you should make it during the full moon period. In my experience, it does make a difference. It does not quadruple your yield, but it seems to increase your yield. So if you can, try to make it during the full moon period. Second thing is, don't get greedy. I got greedy. The recipes you read online are telling you to per gallon use, I think, a cup, which is 250 grams of something of salt, and you can use different kinds of salt. I was thinking like, okay, the water does not seem saturated yet, so I double the amount or I triple the amount of salt per gallon until the water is saturated. So I should get double or triple the amount of ormus, right? Wrong. I learned that if you oversaturate the water, the pH level, which starts usually at about 8 point something, starts at 9 point something. If you add your lei, usually you can add lei like a couple of 100 milliliters. If you oversaturate your water with salt and add about 50 milliliters of lei, the pH level jumps to 10.5 right away, and the water is still almost translucent. Of course, there is some ormus, but it's still translucent and it's already at 10 point something. So the amount of ormus, if you oversaturate the water with salt, is really limited. Don't oversaturate your water with salt. If you do it the right way, it starts at 8 point something, you start adding your lei, and I noticed that you can add a lot of lei between 9.5 pH and 9.8 pH. You can keep adding lei, and then suddenly it jumps from 9.8 to 10 point something. But instead of adding 50 milliliters, I can add 200, 300 milliliters sometimes to making ormus. Don't oversaturate your water. Just limit it. The third is the type of salt and the brand of salt. Over the past year, I've bought several kinds of salts, like Celtic sea salt and Dead Sea salt, from different brands. I found there is a huge difference between the salts that I used. For example, I have bought Celtic sea salt in a reform shop in town. It hardly had any ormus, hardly. I've bought Dead Sea salt online, hardly any ormus. And finally, about 3 weeks ago, I think, I looked up the salt that I used about a year ago. I bought that salt again online. I made my ormus yesterday, and finally I got a sufficient or a good amount of ormus. While I compared it yesterday, because I made 2 pots of ormus, 2 glass jars, one with the new salt, Dead Sea salt, and one with the sea salt that I used before. I used the same amounts of distilled water, the same amounts of salt. There was a big difference in the yield. And the new sea salt had a normal and a good amount of ormus. So look for a good salt that you can use to make ormus. So summary is, make ormus during full moon. Don't get greedy, don't oversaturate the water with salt, and look for a brand and a type of salt that has a lot of ormus, so you can make ormus and have good results. That's it. Hope it helps, and hope ormus helps you as well. See you later.